had some questions prepared, but I'm going to ask you one a little bit that wasn't in the original materials. The chairman started off by talking about disciplinary differences in schools, kind of implying there was a racial component. I always think that is an interesting statistic, but we're not going to change people's race. But I sometimes wonder, do you collect any statistics on the family structure background of kids? Those subject to discipline, those that aren't. I know so many wonderful children raised in all sorts of different backgrounds, but I wonder, are you making any effort to collect that information?
I know that the information that we collect from the Office for Civil Rights, the Civil Rights Data Collection, is something that we've done last year and we're doing this year to get more information on disproportionality. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head now if it has background information that's required of students to fill out on that. I would imagine that there's not.
Why don't you do that? Because maybe we'd learn something. Okay, why don't we request, there was a famous football player who recently toured a prison, obviously discipline on an entirely different level. But he talked about, way disproportionately kids in there without a father. And why don't you collect that information? And maybe we'll learn something that might not be that politically correct, but maybe we can do something to kind of get America back on the straight and narrow. Next question, and this is kind of along with my good buddy, Congressman Courtney. Why, with all these big spending bills, haven't we put something in there saying that you can refinance government student loans, lower the interest rate that way? And there's several Democratic congressmen are out there pushing that. I push it. Is there any reason why that's not in any of your big proposals?
Happy to have my team reach out to you and get more information on that. I think what we're trying to do, Congressman, is really address some of the root causes of the issues. Poor oversight or misleading.
That's okay. Then we'll go on to the next one. I just got out of a budget committee, and we, of course, dealt with the huge inflation caused by excessive government spending. I see that your request here in the president's budget request for 2023 is a 20.9% increase over last year. I mean, given that inflation, housing prices, gas prices, which teachers pay too, seems to be completely out of control. And I think there should be almost unanimous agreement that it's primarily out of control because of excessive spending. Do you feel it was responsible for the president to, in his proposal, increase Department of Education funding by 20.9%?
First of all, the supply chain issues and the Russian war is contributing significantly. If anything, the proposals that our president put forward helped Americans with relief during a very difficult time. The reason for this request, sir, is because of decades of underinvestment in education. And it's, to me, a symptom that we're seeing teacher shortages and we're seeing challenges in education. So this budget aims to address the years of underinvestment, the decades of underinvestment. And I'm proud that the president is an education president.
Decades? You mean like the Obama and Clinton years? Decades. Well, okay. We'll give you another question. We have a problem that is becoming a budgetary problem in many other ways at our southern border. Your department has asked for an expansion of the Pell Grant program to include illegal immigrants. I always felt that was kind of bizarre because, of course, we're not including American citizens, and American middle-class kids continue to have to go deep in debt for their college education. But it has been the policy, apparently, of the Biden administration to push for free or almost free college for people who are here illegally. Do you still stand by that proposal? Do you think it's something you might take off the table?
Congressman Grothman, I remember having a conversation with a teacher who was a dreamer, who was working twice as hard so that she can help the students in her classroom. And the Biden administration has been very clear that we do support ensuring dreamers have an opportunity for federal financial aid, including the Pell Grant. Well, these are students who are making a big difference in their communities. And
aren't kids born in America making a big difference in their communities?
Yes,
why do you insult them by offering these programs to illegal immigrants and not giving them to American citizens.
Sir, we are proposing an increase in Pell Grants for all students, and we hope you can support it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the few extra seconds.
Thank you. Thank you, gentleman yields back. And next we'll have the gentlelady from Oregon, Ms. Bonamici.
Thank you, Chairman Scott.